Mhm.
when it comes to sampling, the question kind of becomes, or the controversy around sampling is, when it comes to when do you need to give credit and when, well, I mean, especially, um, at the, no offense, at the bigger levels, like that's, majority of an album's budget will be for samples.
Mhm.
Um, so then the question is kind of on the independent level, you're not
Mhm.
making much to any money from your production at the moment.
Yeah, yeah.
So I don't think anything you're sampling could reasonably expect. But then there's also the argument that under fair use, you're
Mhm.
being transformative to the sample. So
Mhm.
really, the original samplee, if you will,
Mhm.
doesn't have any right to anything.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know. It's a so that's kind of the debate, if you will. So okay, I guess
Mhm.
I would ask for how do you feel about that, both as as an artist who could
Mhm.
have your work sampled, and as an
Mhm.
artist who does work where you do sample others. So I'm just
Mhm.
curious as to what you think about that debate.
I think sampling is done by almost everyone because, like, whether you have a melody in your head or you take like a melody from someone else, it's still sampling because you get inspired from other artists to have that melody in your head. You know what I mean? So
Oh yeah, I don't think anyone's
yeah,
arguing that sampling in itself is bad. It's just a question
yeah,
of when is
fair
credit
use.
due, or I
Yeah.
think I think the real complex question is when
Mhm.
is financial compensation appropriate?
Oh
Because
yeah.
that's
So
for these albums they are paying. That's what they're paying tons of money for is sampling.
yeah.
Um, I don't know. I think that line is I don't know.
Mhm.
Just what do you think in terms of when financial compensation comes in play, especially
Uh-huh.
because in a lot of you're taking a sample and you are
Mhm.
inherently transforming it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. What's your take on that?
I think if you do sample from someone, you should definitely pay them because they put in the work to produce that or put it in writing at least and have it patented or copyrighted or whatever. So if you do use a sample from someone that has that, and you should definitely pay them because that's how an artist would earn their money. Because we as like independent artists, we don't get monthly paychecks. We don't get stable income from what we love to do. So I think that's one of the ways we should be compensated, um, especially from big labels that producing albums from big artists. Like you can pay people with samples. Come on.
Yeah, and
So
I think what you would agree on there is that there's kind of a
mhm,
distinction there where
yeah,
if Jay-Z at Rockefeller wants to use your beat, he
mhm,
can throw you a couple Bitcoin. Um,
yeah,
but
I would be happy
if
to
I'm
take
if I'm
that.
fucks if I'm just fucksing around on the mixing and I want to sample some of your
Yeah,
shit,
yeah,
you wouldn't expect, you
yeah.
don't expect, you only expect financial compensation if the person is using it to
Mhm.
make financial. Is that
Yes,
a fair
yes,
assessment?
yes.
So
That's
it's
very
not
fair.
necessarily the
Yeah.
use itself, it's
Mhm.
the financial gain from it. So you don't mind,
Yeah.
like, if other independents,
Mhm.
as long as they're not making money off it,
Yeah.
you wouldn't care if they just sampled whatever.
Yeah.
But
I
if
mean,
they
yeah.
start making money on this, and this
Yeah.
is a conversation we kind of have
Mhm.
will have had,
Mhm. Yeah.
because I want to use your music on some like my games and stuff like that,
Yeah.
where
Mhm.
these things aren't going to be making any money. But if I throw it up on a game website or something and I start making a little ad revenue,
Mhm.
absolutely, first thing I do is cut you in whatever fair percent that is. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah. And
So,
then we'll get, yeah, then at that point then we can get down to business, talk the numbers, all that stuff. You know what I mean? But if
but I think
yeah,
because some people who like on the very extreme side of that argument are like,
yeah.
independent, even people who aren't making money should have to pay for samples. I don't,
Okay.
you know,
Um
I don't
I
necessarily
guess
agree with. I think it should be up to
yes.
the artist who
Yeah.
makes the music at the end. But
Yes.
in the internet age,
Mm.
how do you like police that in any way? How do you stop people from
Whoa.
sampling for footage?
That's
You can't.
that's definitely very hard because you can't. The thing is, you
Yeah.
really can't police it out or to the T. You know what I mean? Like,
But if they're
oh,
making
if
money from it, then you can. Once they
yeah,
start making money, then
yeah, of
then the
course,
samplee has a.
yeah,
But that's some of the the big record labels or whatever. They're like, well,
mm,
if you want to mess around and make a CD for your friends and family, and you want to sample
mm.
Jay-Z, you got to pay for that.
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah, I don't think that is fair. Just because it's not he's not getting monetary gain, like you said. So once you start gaining like financial, getting some finance from your beats that you sampled from others, then yeah, of course the other people should be compensated because they also made it. Like I do sample too, um,
No, of
but
course.
I
I
usually
mean,
get
yeah,
it.
I don't think anyone's
Yeah,
arguing that
yeah.
sampling for the music itself. I don't know. It's just I don't. I mean, and I generally tend to trend in the ways of democratizing and
Mm,
decentralizing things. And big corporations are not my friends. Big governments are not
mm,
my friends either. Um,
yeah,
I mean, especially coming
yeah.
from like a free market kind of argument, I don't think it's
Mm,
completely baseless. If
mm,
Rockefeller wanted to put like a little store up and it's like, hey, you want to buy these to be
mm,
able to use them, whatever.
yeah,
It is their at the end of the day, it's their content.
yeah.
Um, but then there's also the question of fair use, being
Mm,
transformative. So then I think it gets kind of sticky there. So I think
mm,
kind of the standard you described
yeah,
is kind of the best for now. If you're making
yeah,
money, you pay money. If you're not,
yeah,
you don't. But you should always, and I know you'll agree with this, whether
yeah.
you are making money, financial, whatever,
Mm.
always give credit. Always,
Oh yeah,
always, always
100%. Yeah,
give
100%. Yeah,
more credit than you could possibly need. Don't
yeah.
ever give
That's
off, don't ever try to give the
yeah.
impression that someone else's. I mean, if you don't explicitly give credit for a piece of external content, it will
Mm-hmm.
be assumed that it is yours. And
Yes, yeah.
that is downright negligence if you don't give credit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, any art, any work in general,
Yeah,
you gotta give credit.
yeah.
Whether there's money changing hands or not. That's just
Mm.
um,
That's the least you can do.
that's just
If
human
you yeah,
decency at least.
yeah.
But
The
in
least you
terms of
can
like
do
honesty, yeah.
when you are using something for free. So like there are artists out there that just give out free loops to producers, whoever that wants them, and it's royalty free, so you don't have to pay for them, uh, and they don't even require you to credit them actually. But I still do for some of my beats
Well,
that I
I think you
sample.
should,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So yeah, definitely you should. That's the least you can do for an artist is to give them exposure, or even when you like collab with another artist. Yeah, just shout them out. I think that's the least you can do, man. And
But on the flip
yeah.
side, exposure and shout outs are not a replacement for financial compensation.
Oh yeah, for
I see
sure.
that
If you're earning
there's a
money,
whole Reddit I
yeah,
follow about people being like,
yes.
"Hey, I'll pay you in exposure," and they've got like 50 followers.
Yeah, no, that's not. Yeah, that's
That's
not
bullshit.
a replacement for sure.
That's
If you're gaining money, then don't. Yeah, exposure and shit is additional to what you should give, the fair financial cut from what you're earning. So yeah, that's how I feel. Yeah.